What's up, everybody? It's Man of Low Moral Fiber here. My name's Luke, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Stinkpot for a second time as a part of my Does It Suck series. The Stinkpot is a unique assault rifle from the first campaign DLC, and it is available from No Beard, the boss that spawns in the opening quest, and happens to not respawn, which makes finding this weapon a little bit difficult. Regardless, this weapon is a grenadier type weapon. When I shoot it, you can see that it shoots a little corrosive ball out that then bounces once and then explodes. So that's what we're working with here. The first time I tested it, it was with 0. It is worth noting that this weapon cannot get critical hits, which was one of the complaints that people had. And another complaint that people had was that they thought it would get grenade damage. You'll notice that I am wearing a Grenadier comm right now that does boost both grenade damage through the boost there on the card text, and also through the skill steady. And with that comm on, I am getting 416 per shot here on this guy. So that's 416,000 per shot. And without the comm, which should be a significant decrease in my grenade damage, I am still getting that 416k. And so with that, we know that the weapon does not get grenade damage boost, which obviously works against it quite heavily. It cannot get critical hits, and it cannot get grenade damage boost, which definitely hurt the weapon. One thing that some people had said is that the weapon does better when you bounce the bullet into an enemy. And when we shoot this guy straight up here, we can see that we're getting the same damage as when we bounce it into an enemy. Regardless, if I throw on the legendary soldier comm, we do happen to do more damage to this guy now. And so I guess that's worth noting. Perhaps when we're using a character like Axton, who doesn't rely on critical hit damage in quite the same way that 0 does, perhaps we will have better luck with it. Who knows? I still expect it to do pretty poorly, but people wanted to see it retested among some other weapons that I do plan to retest using different scenarios and stuff, per request. And we'll see how it does. I don't expect it to do well, mind you, but we'll oblige the people here. So we're going to head to the Washburn Refinery. There should be a lot of enemies in here that will take corrosive damage, obviously. And this weapon only comes in corrosive element. Theoretically, I could put points into overload here. And I could wear an assault rifleman comm or something that perhaps would boost the damage of this weapon more. But I don't think anyone would go out of their way just to use this weapon. And I think overload's kind of an overrated bonus in some regard. Obviously, Axton has serious increases to reload speed through the skill ready, and reloading this assault rifle is not really going to be our biggest problem here. Let's get our turret out and, begin to wear into this guy. I just wanted to try that, bouncing it into him a little bit there. That is something that some people said from my 0 video was helping. I don't think it was. I think it was kind of a placebo effect more than anything. But we'll find out. We'll get this turret back out here and, begin to wear into these guys, I guess. Now that they're all slagged, it should be fairly easy to start killing them. And it kills at a decent rate. It's not grand, that's for certain. You can see there against this guy, it was doing less. I don't think there is any marked difference between shooting in the ground first and shooting directly at an enemy. I don't know for certain. It may look as if I'm getting critical hits sometimes with the weapon, but that is just my turret actually hitting the critical hits on the same enemy that I am aiming at. You'll notice that when the turret is not active, you will never see the critical hit markers. So that's worth noting. All right. Slag both of these fellas again. And I guess sometimes they can get critical hits off of my antagonist as well. So there's a couple ways it can appear that this weapon is getting critical hits, but I can promise you that it's not. So 30-12, and when I bounce it, still 30-12. So no difference there, even on these moving targets. I thought perhaps that the way that first enemy is, or not the first enemy, the test dummy is positioned up on the, I don't know what you would call it there, the target slate or plate. He's still possible that he was making us get if it existed, a potential bounce bonus, but it doesn't seem to exist. Obviously, the hot loaders do have a spot where you can hit them that does cause them to explode, so that's pretty cool. Whoa. Run out of the way of my Quasar there before it kills me, and then we'll get on out of here. So you can see that this weapon is still pretty damn poor. I don't want to say that it sucks as bad as some weapons, but I would say that it sucks overall. It is not an ideal weapon to use, even with Axton, who is a much different character than Zero. I, can see it being a little bit better with Axton than with Zero, because Axton has more boost to base gun damage than Zero does. Zero relies more on critical hit damage, which is obviously entirely ineffective with this weapon. That said, Zero can still do some pretty cool things with the slow hand, so it's not as if simply not getting critical hits is completely ruined a weapon with Zero. There does exist some cases where it can be, pretty good, but Zero definitely would prefer to have that critical hit damage. Regardless, let's continue here. There is a super badass, which, should really be interesting. We probably won't kill it that quickly, but we're going to try to do our best. I would say also the fact that this weapon does consume 2 ammo per shot hurts it, not necessarily because you're going to run out of grenade, or not grenade, I wanted to say grenade because it seems to shoot grenades, but it's not as if you're going to run out of assault rifle ammo, because assault rifles have such a deep ammo pool. Regardless, it does lead to more frequent reloads, but that's not a huge deal. The main problem here is the lack of damage, the lack of grenade damage boost, the lack of the ability to do critical hits either. So that really kind of hurts the weapon more than just having a relatively small magazine size. It's a pretty poor weapon, which is weird because it comes from a DLC of great weapons, and this is easily, one of the more ill-conceived weapons in the game, I would say. First, it's a Jakobs weapon that can't get critical hits, which is just stupid to begin with. Second, it's a Grenadier that, doesn't get grenade damage boost, which is also just stupid. Beyond that, it is only dropped from a non-respawnable boss, which is another really, really stupid thing. So that, it just goes to show that perhaps this weapon really was never fully thought out well. Everything about it seems to suck. So that's kind of weird. I'm definitely not a fan of it personally. And like I said, it comes from the same DLC as the Pimpernel, the Sandhawk, the Tattler, the Rapier, the Greed, the Jolly Roger, the Orphan Maker, and some other half-decent weapons like the Actualizer and the Seraphim. And then we have this thing, which just sucks. Which is weird, because the DLC has so many great weapons. And it's weird that, this almost seems like it would be a Captain Scarlet's curses, or a Captain Blade's cursed weapon, but it doesn't have, anything like that. It's just really shitty overall. I don't know. It's definitely a weird deal. And it's kind of the first thing that you could possibly be introduced to in the DLC as well, which is not a great way to start the DLC, I would say. I like the way they start that DLC until the voice recorder things, but this is not the weapon to introduce the DLC, at the very least. The inability to knock an enemy's arm off with this weapon too is just another thing that hurts it, and that is obviously inherently due to the fact that it can't get critical hits, so that is worth noting. I'm trying to save my my turret here for when the big guy is going to spawn, so that is what I'm doing there, if you're wondering. Get those guys kind of grouped up, and then we'll spawn the big one. Yeah, so it's a little early to call now, or I would say it's not too early to call at all, actually. It's appropriate to call now. Why are these things going up into the air like that? This weapon still sucks, even on Axton. It is a bad weapon all around. Had to throw my turret there. Hopefully we can make it last to the point where we're going to kill this badass up here. So we still have the Battlefront bonus at least, which is good. I wanted Onslaught to sneak away from this guy a little bit quicker, but whatever. Got a few seconds left here of Battlefront, which we're going to need against this guy because he's so large and healthy. Okay, so we definitely didn't get him killed before the turret was gone, which sucks, but we're still going to wear him down eventually. Cool. One more room to make it through here, and then I guess we'll have Pervy's little group as well, but yeah, what I wanted to test here with this weapon, it getting grenade damage, it being boosted by the bounce, or potentially boosted by the bounce, that's not happening. It's a shitty weapon, even on Axton. So, yeah, I'm glad we, took a second look at this. I hope some of you guys appreciated it. It's just still pretty bad. It's not a good weapon at all. So, hopefully we get a shitload of exploders in here and can work through it quickly. Seems unlikely, though. Ooh, a hot loader and a badass loader over there. That's a fun combo. Onslaught and Battlefront for the big guy. Surely that'll help. If that exploder wants to get out of our way. Dang, he killed our... No, he didn't kill our turret. I thought he did. He walked right by it, which is surprising in some ways. Perhaps it wasn't aiming at him. My turret slagging anything? I guess not. Antagonist is, though, which is surprising enough. If you're killing things slowly enough that your antagonist is consistently slagging for you, it is evident that the weapon you're using perhaps needs to be upgraded or swapped. And that is the situation we are running into here. So, yeah, that's another thing that I would say really works against this weapon being conceived as viable or not sucking in any way. And viable is kind of a weird term, I guess, because technically we have made it through this much of the map with it. That said, it has been arduous. It has been, definitely less effective than other options that we have seen before. So, in that regard, I would say that it is at least less viable than contemporary options, of which there are many. Yeah, it's pretty poor. I really don't know of anything offhand that would make it a lot better. Like I said, I could have used an Assault Rifleman comm. I could have put points in Overload and everything. Oh, good. I tried to bounce it through the holes in the guardrail there, and it killed me. So that's fitting. It is worth noting that this weapon can definitely kill you. Oh, good. And my slag weapon, it wasn't ready. At least we got a second win. Good lord, that was aggravating. So yeah, it can bounce off and kill you. That's just another thing that also works against the weapon in some way. I tried to shoot it through one of these gaps, and even though it seems to me that it would fly right through one of those motherfuckers, no, they don't because of physics and shit. So that's fun. That was a pleasant little surprise there. Yeah, I would say this weapon sucks. It is pretty damn bad. There's nothing redeeming about it. This room is obviously a lot less important to the test now because these enemies aren't at the exaggerated health scaling anymore since the recent patch. So it's no different than what we've seen already. Regardless, I'm going to kill these guys anyway. Try to kill that pervy one over there too. Got him dead. This thing's ass. Has a relatively small magazine size. It doesn't get critical hit damage. It doesn't get grenade damage. it's just garbage. I really don't have anything else to say about it. It's a shitty weapon. It's a shame, too. Like I said, it comes from a DLC of great weapons, a DLC of, you know, great gear overall and everything, and this is just garbage. So, I don't know. That kind of sucks, I guess, but whatever. Okay. Yeah, this is where we're going to end this video. So, the answer to does it suck, regarding the Stinkpot, even when using Axton, is a resounding yes. This weapon is pretty damn well garbage, so we'll just go ahead and get rid of it here. As always, guys, I thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. If you haven't yet taken the time to subscribe, please do so. I'd appreciate that as well. Otherwise, I do hope to catch you next time. Bye, guys.